As the hunt for the Tel Aviv terrorist continues. The IDF shells the Lebanese border in self-defense, and Hamas releases another video of Gilad Shalit. I'm Natasha Kirchuk here with the latest news in Israel. The hunt for the Tel Aviv terrorist continues for its fourth day. City residents remain on edge, and many parents are refusing to send their children to school.
In a matter of seconds, it doesn't matter. You can live months and months and months, and then one day you go out with your friends for coffee, and just a couple of seconds, everything is different. Your life is different. From that moment on, your life will never be the same. Women lost their sons, people lost their husbands, their children. It's heartbreaking, and it's ridiculous that this could have happened because, you think you're in Israel, you think you're in the safest place in the world, but it happens right here where you live.
Authorities warn that the suspect Nashat Milhem is armed, dangerous, and could possibly strike again. Police reportedly believe that after he shot dead 2 people at a Dizengoff pub on Friday afternoon, he fled the scene on foot, hailed a cab, and then rode farther north in the city, where he murdered the driver before abandoning the vehicle. He might then have caught public transportation or some other vehicle out of the city. Either way, security forces are still searching the Tel Aviv area.
ממשיכים בחיפושים אחר הרוצח מתל אביב, ומתנהל מאמץ גדול בשטח עם הרבה כוחות, מאמצים מודיעיניים בלתי פוסקים. המאמץ הזה נעשה גם בסיוע ובעזרה מצד אזרחי ישראל שמגלים ערנות וגם אחריות.
Milhem's cell phone was found in the Ramat Aviv neighborhood in North Tel Aviv, apparently an hour after the attack. A schoolgirl in the area discovered the cell phone, and when she turned it on, it began to ring with calls from mostly Arab speakers. She and her father only realized it might be significant to the investigation after Milhem's name was released on Saturday. The shooting suspect knows the Tel Aviv area very well, since he worked as a vegetable delivery man in the area. As of now, police do not have any leads to his whereabouts, according to Israeli media. As more information about Milhem is being released, more people who have recently come into contact with him are describing him as a violent man. Israeli media have described Milhem as a ticking bomb who could carry out additional acts of violence.
IDF troops destroyed the homes of 2 terrorists today in an East Jerusalem neighborhood. Both assailants carried out separate deadly attacks in October.
The High Court of Justice approved the demolition orders for the houses just a few weeks ago. One of the homes belonged to 22-year-old Baha Alyan, who killed 3 people on a bus in Jerusalem on October 13th with the help of another terrorist. He was shot dead by the police at the scene of the attack. The second house belonged to Ala Abu Jamal, who plowed his car into a group of people standing at a bus stop in Jerusalem on the same date. He then jumped out of his vehicle to attack people with a meat cleaver, managing to kill 1 before being shot down by a nearby security guard.
Tensions with Hezbollah remain high. The IDF has been shelling the Lebanese border for the past few days in an attempt to deter an attack from the Lebanese terrorist group.
The organization's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, has repeatedly vowed revenge for the assassination of terrorist Samir Kuntar, blaming Israel for the killing. And yesterday, Nasrallah reiterated the group's threat. The Israeli army now anticipates a strike and is concerned that Hezbollah will exploit poor visibility along the border due to recent stormy weather. To be cautious, the IDF has repeatedly fired artillery rounds along open areas near the fence. Today marks the 4th consecutive day of shelling.
For the second time in a week, Hamas has released previously unseen footage of Gilad Shalit in captivity.
The latest video shows Shalit smiling as he tends to a barbecue, sips coffee, and watches television. Shalit's family says Hamas will stop at nothing to present a skewed picture of his captivity, and that the video in no way reflects the 5.5 years he spent doing his best to survive in solitude and daily fear. A year after Shalit was freed, the Hamas military released a video dramatizing his abduction and the killing of 2 other IDF soldiers. Shalit was captured in a raid on his IDF unit on the Gaza border in 2006 and held for 5 years until his release in a prisoner exchange in 2011.
Authorities are trying to extend the administrative detention of a right-wing Jewish terror leader who is set to be released at the end of January. ILTV's Aaron Porras has more on the story.
Israeli security have accused Meir Ettinger of being the head of a Jewish terrorist underground that seeks to destroy Israel and replace it with a Jewish monarchy. The 23-year-old is the grandson of the assassinated extremist rabbi Meir Kahane. The Shin Bet arrested him this past August following the killing of 3 members of the Dawabshe family in the Palestinian village of Duma. Although he's not a suspect in the Duma case, he is allegedly connected to the firebombing just 1 month earlier at the Church of the Multiplication of Loaves and Fishes. By extending Ettinger's administrative detention, authorities will be able to hold him indefinitely without trial in 6-month renewable increments.
Most of us know what it's like to listen to an interesting radio broadcast on the way to work, only to have to turn it off in the middle in order to make it on time to a meeting. An Israeli startup has found the solution to making sure you never miss another engaging audiocast. Zev Gurba is a co-founder and CEO of Vokavu, and he joins us with more. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Natasha.
So tell us, what is Vokavu?
Well, Vokavu is a startup company operating from Caesarea, Israel. We developed a platform that automatically transforms radio broadcast into textual web presence, which is tagged, optimized, and most importantly, available online. And why that is important? Because when you look at radio industry has an issue with internet. Internet changed everything. And what we do online as users, we do search, we do social media, we do music, we don't listen to non-music radio. We drive our cars the way to work and back from work. We listen to radio while we drive. When we get out of the car, that's it. We don't continue our listening experience online. So we thought the best way to approach that issue would be to bring that great content that people miss every day in a textual way, so search engines will be able to search that and approach that, and radio stations will be able to make more money from digital revenues.
So in terms of that search aspect of your technology, from what I understand, your technology also allows users to learn more about the subjects they're hearing in audio broadcasts, correct?
What we do is we transcribe the broadcast into text, then we analyze the text itself in order to understand what are the subjects that are being discussed over there, what would be the metadata, the tags, the keywords, the entities, names of persons, names of places. So if you are looking specifically, for example, Hillary Clinton, you type in Hillary Clinton and you'll find that broadcast that speaks about Hillary Clinton.
It's really interesting.
Thank you.
So far your technology is only used in the United States. Why is that?
Well, the United States is the biggest market. It's the most interesting market. The state has 15,000 radio stations operating over there. 25% of that are non-music stations. Our biggest investor is Nielsen, the biggest research company, and they are an American company. So our focus right now is in the States. Later on, we'll expand to other states normally.
In another 3 weeks, it's going to be the first time that your technology launches live. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we launched with our first commercial client. That's a local station from California, which is part of Cumulus Media. That's the second largest radio company in the States. They own 500 radio stations. We did a very successful pilot with them. And we are very thrilled towards that launch, and we'll continue with other stations belong to that radio company later on.
Interesting. So I imagine this is an extremely useful technology for people who are deaf or have hearing disabilities. Can you talk to us about how you came up with the idea for this technology and how that's related?
Yeah, well, that's funny because I think that many entrepreneurs, besides trying to change the world, also have some personal issues they want to solve, and that's the case for me as well. My father has some hearing loss of hearing from his days in the army, in the Israeli army. And when we come to visit my parents, they live in Jerusalem, I always hear the radio turned on very, very loudly. And that makes me very annoyed. I don't like that. And it seems that there are 10% of the world population that suffer from all kinds of loss of hearing. That's a huge amount of population that many of them don't access the radio. So we thought it would be a good idea to bring the radio to them in a way that they can read that rather than listen to the radio. But when we went deeper with the research, we saw that radio has a bigger problem than these 10% with the other people that listen to radio occasionally when they drive. So when they drive and they don't continue their listening experience. So we started to focus on that audience, and I hope that later on we'll be able to bring solution to the deaf and those that have some hearing loss issues.
Does that percentage also apply to Israel? When is this technology going to be in Hebrew and come to Israel?
Well, that depends. The American market is the biggest, like I said before, and English is the most researched and most popular language when it comes to web, so it's much easier to do that in the States. Being a small company, we just started our next fundraising round. We're limited with our resources, so we focus where the big market is. I hope to be able to work in Israel in the next years.
Great. Well, I think we're all looking forward to that. It's amazing technology, and good luck.
Thank you.
Israel's Attorney General is set to investigate a controversial decision by the Education Ministry to ban a novel from Israeli schools. The book features a romantic episode between an Israeli and a Palestinian and has been deemed inappropriate for high schoolers.
Israeli politicians, civil rights groups, and teachers are outraged by the decision to remove the book Border Life from school reading lists. The novel was allegedly removed over concerns it would encourage cross-cultural love affairs, leading to assimilation between Jews and Arabs. Education Minister Naftali Bennett has emphasized that it was the ministry's pedagogical council that made the decision, and said that the book was removed because of its negative portrayal of the Israeli military. Bennett says the move is not censorship, since any individual pupil can decide to read the book outside of school. But Israel's Association for Civil Rights says the book was removed from the Israeli curriculum on the basis of anti-educational considerations. The novel has been in massive demand since news of its ban last week, and it's been catapulted to the top of the bestseller lists in Israel. Israeli teachers are requesting the book to be re-included on their curriculum reading lists.
It's time for our Hebrew word of the day. Today we learned about the Israeli startup Vokavu, which tries to help its users make the most out of the media content they hear on the radio. I thought today would be the perfect day to learn the word tikshoret, which means media or communications in Hebrew. The word makes a lot of sense since it has the same root letters as the words for contacting, connecting, and to tie together. In media, we try to contact and connect with our viewers so that they're as informed as possible about Israel. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tomorrow is expected to be mostly sunny with a high of 66. Wednesday should be sunny as well, and the temperature should go up to 69. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.91 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv. And don't forget to check out our new breaking newscast every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.